There are many reasons to use occlusal splints in restorative dentistry. In this presentation, we're going to demonstrate how quick and easy it can be to deliver a maxillary occlusal splint by using very simple and reproducible techniques. They can mount it back on the model and adjust it before they divest it. Then they port a second model, and the second model is really used to seat the splint. So you can see how nicely that splint fits on the second model. And so if everything goes well, this splint ought to just fall into place if we took a good impression. The lab did a good job. Now I will tell you, I did already try this in, but I just tried it in about 2 minutes ago. And let me show you what's involved in seating. I think the one thing you got to watch is you don't get the patient's cheek in, so kind of pull their cheek out. And if we've done a good job, it should just fall right into place. And you can see that just fall in place. I'm pushing on it and it's nice and stable. So if you've done a good job of your impression and you got a good lab, which we use Gould Lab in Simi Valley, I'll put on a little plug there. You can see what a nice fit. Okay. Now it's just a matter of making sure that it's snug. So the first thing I like to do is just make sure that it's not too loose. You can see it's just a little loose, so I'm going to go in now again, and I'm going to take my 3-prong pliers, little ortho pliers, and I'm just going to go ahead and adjust and tighten up these clasps just a little bit. So I'm just kind of activating these clasps. Okay. And then we'll try this back in. And it should kind of snap into place. Bite together, kind of grind around a little bit. Yeah, see, we're getting a little movement, not bad. I'm going to tighten this up just a little more. I want it to try to be as stable as possible. It's not critical that you absolutely don't have any movement, but I want to get it fairly snug. As you tighten these, they start getting an undercut, so sometimes you need to kind of flip it on. I might have got a little too tight that time. Sometimes you got to put it on one side and flip it over. There we go. Nice and stable. I'm pushing all over the place. Bite together, kind of grind around a little bit. You can see it's not doing a lot of movement. Yeah, maybe a little movement there. Grind forward. No, that's not bad. Okay, now I'm going to go in and I want you to tip your head back a little bit. I want you to look at how close we are without even touching this thing. If you look in there, you can see, let me just check the bite without even doing any adjustment at all. Open, bite together, open, together, open. It's connecting there, bite together, contacting there, open, together. It's not contacting there, open, together. Okay, it's contacting there, open, bite together, open, contacting there, open, bite together, contacting there, bite together, contacting there, open, bite together, contacting there. Quite frankly, I probably wouldn't even adjust this splint with a reline, but I'm going to show you how to do it anyway. I'm going to assume that the occlusion isn't this good. I mean, if you consider this mylar shim stock is 5/10,000ths of an inch, and we pretty much got contacts almost around the mouth, we're actually right where we want to be. And again, we talked about taking your registration at an open vertical, at the correct vertical dimension. The key to this kind of accuracy is a good impression and taking that interocclusal registration at the proper vertical dimension. If she left right now without me doing a thing, this would probably be better than 98% of the splits walking around on the street right now. All right, let's go ahead and check this anyway. So first thing I want you to do is I want you to just tap together, tap, 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 tap. Okay, open. You can also look at your articulate paper, hold it up to the light. You can kind of see the little indents kind of where there's hitting, and I'm not getting contacts everywhere, but I'm getting pretty good contacts and indentations around the arch. Okay, and I'm using the blue side up first, doing a visual inspection of my blue dots. I got a little bit heavy in the back. A little bit heavy in the front. Looks like she may be biting forward a little bit. Just kind of making an initial analysis of what I've got. Now I'm going to flip it over now. Now bite together. Bite together. Now I want you to just grind every place you can. Forward, back, right and left. Every place you can grind, just grind. Right and left, forward, in little circles, kind of grind circles. Okay, open. Okay, again, I'm going to look at my marks. She's hitting in the canine region. She's got good canine guidance. She got good canine guidance here. She's hitting on these anterior. A little bit of a bump there. I don't like that bump. I want it a little smoother here. But she doesn't have a lot of dragging contacts. You can see she's got some contacts on the back here, which is what we want, but not a lot of contacts in excursion. So this is pretty darn close. You got a contact here. Might be a little light in occlusion here. That might be a little light. It's hard to say, but you know, this is awfully, awfully close. Up here in the front, you can see the canine guidance is exactly what we want. We got a lot of grinding marks up here for our anterior guidance. So we're pretty close. We're in pretty good shape. Now, what I like to do is I like to use an accelerated technique. Put some safety glasses on here. I like to use an accelerated technique for adjusting. Get that Duralay ready to go, powder liquid. Okay, rather than spend time trying to grind in all these dots, the first thing I'm going to do, can you see this, Carlos?
Yeah.
I don't like this little ledge in the front. I'm going to smooth that, just blow it away from her face. I'm not going to get rid of my canine guidance, but I'm just going to, I don't want a bump in this front. I'm just going to smooth out that anterior guidance, and I'm going to actually smooth out the canine guidance just a little bit. I want all my canine guidance smooth. I don't want any bumps. I'm just making sure that I have a nice, smooth anterior guidance, and I'm not getting bumpy surfaces. So I'm doing a minimal amount of adjusting there. On this posterior part of the mouth, yeah, I've got contacts and I'm in pretty good shape. Okay, but I'm just going to roughen this up a little bit. And at this point, I don't care if I lose these contacts, because I'm going to do a quick reline. I think it's easier to do a quick reline. This side was a little light, so all I'm going to do is roughen this up. Okay, now I want a little monomer. Just give me a little monomer and a dapping dish and a eyedropper. Eyedropper. And I'm just going to put a little bit of liquid on this posterior part of the mouth. We are a little light in here. I'm going to put just a dab in the front too. Okay, now that's just to wet that surface. Now we're going to use our disposable syringe here. I need a scissors now. I'm going to cut the tip off this a little bit. Yeah, I don't want to cut that much off. Give me the liquid. While we're waiting for this, I'm just going to put some monomer in this syringe. This is a good little technique I learned from Jeff Bruscia. We actually have the same technique. He came up with this, or maybe somebody else did, but he's the one that showed it in one of our residency programs. Give me a little more monomer. I don't need it. Yes. I'm going to do a little bit of a reline here. This is just a quick way to measure this. Give me that powder. And we're just going to put our powder in here. What you're going to use this is our mixing, is our dapping dish. Okay. Give me the scissors. I'm going to cut the tip off so it's not quite. Grab that tip. So I got a little bigger orifice here. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a little bit of this that I mixed, and we're just going to inject it right onto the surface here. Isn't that slick? You can mix it in a dapping dish you want. I wanted to plus my contacts just a hair here, as long as we're doing this. And I'm going to put them on this back surface. Notice I'm just putting it kind of in the middle of my tray. I'm not putting it where I had good positive contact. I'm just going to let this set just a little bit so it doesn't run. Open. Open. Okay, come together slowly, come together, open up a little bit, slowly come together, come together, come together, it's going to bite right together. right? Kind of visually looking to see if I got contact. We're going to let this set. This is going to take probably, turn that way. It's going to take maybe 5 minutes or so to set. Once this is set, I'm going to go back in and I'm going to trim off the excess and just leave the little dimples. And I think you'll see that the contact should all be there. I think it's a lot easier to go in and add contacts like this. You can see how much time this takes, and then adjust them in, than to try to go in there and use your articulating paper and grind and grind and grind and grind. It can take forever. So if you're looking for a nice, efficient delivery technique, I think this is a better way to go. Okay, so I don't know how much time we've got invested so far, but my guess is we've got in the neighborhood of 5 to 10 minutes. We probably got about another 5 minutes to set this up, and then I'm going to have another 5 minutes just adjusting and double checking my occlusion. So I think it's reasonable that this should take in the neighborhood of about a half hour, and that's what I give my patients, a half hour time, and we probably would get this done even faster than a half hour, quite frankly. So you could also, as an alternative, if you want to, you could also use like a flowable composite if you wanted to. I've also done that. I've had reasonable success in doing that. So, you know, kind of use your imagination. I guess the downside of the chemical cure does take a little bit longer, but it's a little more compatible with the methyl methacrylate material that we use to fabricate the actual splint. Open. If you look real close, we just got the little tips. See the little cuss tips? That's all we want. We just want to have a cuss tip. And in the front, I just recaptured a few of these little cuss tips on the incisal. Okay, I'm going to give this just a couple more minutes. If you had hot water, you can put it in hot water. I think if you look close, you can see all the little dimples. These were already there. You can see a dimple there. Over here, all the little dimples. So we're going to grind it. We're going to grind everything away, but the very tip of that little cuss tip or little dimple in our acrylic. That's what we're going to do next.
No, I don't want it.
I'm just grinding away the excess material here, and just again leaving that little. Hey Chad, how you doing? Okay, now we're going to go back and check this in the mouth. Open. Let's go back and see if we did what we hoped to accomplish here. Bite together. Open. 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 Together. You can see now we've got mylar contacts everywhere, which is virtually impossible to do by grinding in. Open. Now we're going to go back with our articulating paper, bite together, grind all over the place again. Open. Now when I hold up my articulating paper, you can see how it's got little perforations and dots almost everywhere, which is a good sign. When we evaluate, open up, when we evaluate our splint, we got little dots everywhere when we've already verified that with our splint. And now I'm going to go ahead and do my final adjustment. I'm not going to waste your time. I'm just going to make this dot even a little bit smaller. So I got maybe another couple minutes worth of just smoothing, and then I'm going to polish this, and I'm going to give my patient instructions on wearing the splint, and we're done. So I think that what I really wanted to press upon you today really is, you know, this was a real-time demonstration for the most part. I saw this splint for the first time
2 minutes ago.
5 minutes before you guys saw it, and you can see everything went very smoothly. And I have enough confidence with the way we do these and the techniques that we perform. This should be the norm, with few exceptions. And you can see it's a very time-efficient, very accurate, very achievable technique. So again, I'm just going to spend maybe a couple more minutes smoothing out these cuss tips. We've already got our contacts. centric occlusion contacts, that's critical. And I'm just going to smooth this up. Now for polishing, give me that kit. I don't have any rag wheels or buffing wheels in here. I use these, again, Brasseler rubber points. This is an acrylic polishing kit, and I use this to smooth any little areas that I want to smooth. I don't polish the occlusal contacts. I just smooth like any lingual area or areas away from the contact that I might have roughened up.